Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi and salam sejahtera to all of you. Welcome to our online practical class. Yeah. So today is the second practical for the general module, which is on the epithelium and glands. Okay. So we meet again. I'm Dr. Hazan Aliza Haslan from Anatomy Department. Okay, before we move further, okay, I would like to explain a little bit on the arrangement of this practical class, because now we are doing this practical class, using the online platform. Okay, so previously, okay, I just want to explain to you a little bit about this. Okay, previously, when you have the practical class, okay, you will have a demonstration, a brief demonstration about what are the slides that you are going to view. Then you will be given the slides and microscope, and you will view the slides during the allocated time for the class. Yeah, but because of this MCO, okay, for the online practical, what we will do is that, okay, for the first about 1 hour, for the first 1 hour, okay, you will have to view the pre-recorded lecture, okay, that is provided. And then after that, another 1 hour, you will have something like an SGS, like, okay, a discussion platform with the respective lecturers. Yeah, during that time, okay, you have the opportunity to ask the question from the respective lecturers. Okay, each of you will be put in a group, and then you will be given lecturers. Yeah, so for the pre-recorded lecture or briefing, okay, practical briefing, okay, I will took a picture. I already took some pictures, okay, from the histological slides, and then I will show it to you in this lecture, and I will explain a little bit about that. Okay, so that is how we are going to do lah. So for this practical 2, epithelium and glands, okay, we will have 7 slides. Yeah, we will have 7 slides for epithelium and 3 slides for the glands. Yeah, okay, we start with this slide. Okay, so any guess what is this? What type of epithelium shown in this photograph? Okay, so for your information, as I mentioned earlier, so this photo I took from the histological slide. Yeah, okay, so any guess what is this? Okay, so this is the mesothelium in spread preparation. Okay, so what is actually mesothelium? Yeah, so to help you all to understand what do we mean by spread preparation, I need to explain this a little bit, but don't worry too much, because pleura, peritoneum, all this you will learn later on in the respective modules. Let's say pleura in the respiratory system, peritoneum in the GIT, gastrointestinal system. So don't worry too much. Okay, so I just want to explain to you, the mesothelium is actually a membrane. Yeah, a membrane. Okay, a membrane that form the lining of body cavities. Okay, body cavities. Here you can see this is the abdominal cavities. Okay, this bluish one. Okay, so this bluish one is actually the peritoneum. Yeah, the peritoneum. So it will cover the abdominal cavity as well as some of the gastrointestinal tract organs. Okay, so if let's say we took this membrane, okay, we cut it and we took this membrane, okay, and we spread it. Okay, and we spread it because we want to view the mesothelium. How does it look like? So this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is how it looks like, and this means that we view it from the surface. Yeah, from the surface. Yeah, okay, so it's not we view it perpendicular to the basement membrane, but this one is from the surface. Okay, so as I mentioned, we view it from the surface. So can you identify the cells? I hope you can. Okay, so here this one. Okay, so this is one cell, this is another cell, so this is another cell, so these are the cells. So can you guess what type of cell is this? Okay, remember this is spread preparation, and you can see the cells is actually irregular in shape, irregular in shape. Okay, so this is actually the nucleus for the cells. Okay, so this is simple squamous epithelium. Remember in the lecture that I gave to you. Okay, so for simple squamous epithelium, okay, if let's say we view it from the surface, from above, this is how it looks like. Okay, you can't see the flat surface, isn't it? Okay, but because this one you view from the above, okay, so you can see the shape of the cell is actually irregular, but it's a flat cell. Okay, now the second slide. Any guess? Anyone can guess what is this? Okay, what is this? So this is the tissue from this slide is from the tissue of the kidney. Okay, so this is only the cortex. Okay, the cortex part of the kidney. Okay, so I will explain a little bit what does we meant by cortex. Okay, so this is a kidney. Okay, if you cut it, okay, and you want to view the internal structure of the kidney, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so the kidney is actually composed of cortex, this part, okay, cortex, and this part is the medulla. The pyramid shape here is the medulla. Okay, and this space here, the space here, we call it as renal pelvis. Okay, so this is how it looks like in a histological slide. Okay, so this is the cortex. You can see it's darker color, and this is the medulla. Okay, you can see it has this pyramid shape. Okay, so this is the pelvis. Okay, so in the slide I showed you earlier, we only view or we only focus on this part, the cortex part. Yeah, okay. So these are the slide. Okay, so if you can see the kidney, the cortex of the kidney composed of this, you can see this rounded structure. Okay, the tubular structure. So it composed mainly of tubular structure, numerous. Okay, you can see numerous of this small tubular structure. Okay, and then you can see this, isn't it quite peculiar, this one? Okay, large rounded structure here, this one. Okay, you can see several of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the glomerulus. Okay, glomerulus is one. This is the glomerulus. Okay, you can see it's quite prominent. Yeah, it's quite different from the rest of it, and the rest of it is like a tubular structure. So this one you can see is large. Okay, a rounded structure. Okay, so we want to focus at this glomerulus. Okay, so now we focus at this part. So let's see. Okay, this one times 40, just now times 5 only, under lower magnification, just now the slide before this. Okay, so this one under higher magnification, times 40. Okay, so this is how the cortex of the kidney looks like, times 40. Remember this structure I did mention earlier? So this is the glomerulus. So these are the tubular structure that I mentioned earlier, numerous of them. Okay, so this is the large rounded structure, okay, that you can see under lower magnification just now, darker compared with the rest of it. Okay, now I want you all to focus on the cells that I showed with the black arrow. 1, 2, 3. Okay, see the characteristic of these cells. Okay, if you can see, okay, the cells is only formed by, okay, this tissue. Yeah, this tissue is only formed by a single layer of cells, isn't it? Single layer of cells, isn't it? One characteristic. Another one, okay, another one, you can see the cells itself is flat. Okay, is flat. And then you can see this one. Okay, the nucleus, the bluish one is the nucleus. Yeah, so the nucleus is also flat. Okay, so can you guess what is this? Okay, the one with flat cell, flat nucleus, single layer. Okay, as shown by the black arrows here. So what is this? So this is the simple squamous epithelium. Okay, so this is the glomerulus. Okay, this part is the capsule. Okay, the capsule of the glomerulus. Okay, we call it as Bowman's capsule. So this Bowman's capsule is lined. Okay, lined by the simple squamous epithelium. Okay, remember the epithelium, the function of epithelium is to line the structure, to form a lining of a structure. So here you can see a simple squamous epithelium line the Bowman's capsule. Yeah. Now, focus on these cells. The one in the red arrow, one cell, another cell is two cells, another cell here, the third cell. Okay. Okay. So see the characteristic of the cells. Okay, first you see the shape. Okay, you can see the shape of these cells is square, isn't it? Square. Okay, so cuboidal. What about the nucleus? What about the nucleus? So this one, the nucleus. So the nucleus is rounded, isn't it? The nucleus is rounded and its location is basically at the center of the cell. Similar here. Rounded nucleus located at the center, rounded nucleus located at the center. Okay, so what type of epithelium is this? With cuboidal shape, okay, nucleus rounded at the center, and of course you can see it's just a single layer, isn't it? Just a single layer. So what is this? So this is simple cuboidal epithelium. Okay, so remember for this practical, okay, don't focus too much, okay, on the structure of the kidney. Okay, you of course you will learn again, okay, you will see again this slide later on in the urinary module. Okay, but for this practical, okay, I want you all to focus only on the epithelium. Okay, what are the characteristic of the epithelium that form the structure? Okay, so that you understand, okay, what this epithelium meant. Okay, then we have the third slide. Okay, another slide. Any guess what is this? Okay, any guess what is this? So this is the duodenum. Okay, duodenum. So duodenum is part of the small intestine, part of the gastrointestinal tract. I will briefly explain about it. Okay, so the duodenum. Okay, if you can see. Okay, so this is the duodenum, the small intestine. We cut it. Okay, we cut cross section so that we can see the structure. Okay, if we make it bigger, so this is how this small structure look like. Okay, so this small structure, if you can see this arrangement, okay, this is what we call as plica circularis. This one, okay, this one you can see in this picture, you can see it's C shape. Okay, so this is the plica. Okay, so here you can see smaller structure here, isn't it? Something like this. So this is the villi. Okay, so this is the villi. Okay, so this part, okay, if you can see the duodenum, okay, I did mention it composed of 4 layers. Mucosa, this one, mucosa layer, this one, okay, the one with pinkish color here, and then you have the submucosa layer, then you have the muscularis propria layer, okay, and then you have serosa or adventitia layers. So the duodenum composed of 4 layers, okay. But the one we want to focus is only on the mucosa part, on the epithelium part. Okay, the mucosa itself composed of 3 layers. Okay, epithelium, lamina propria, and muscularis. Here you can see. Okay, so this part is the muscularis mucosa. Okay, this is the lamina propria. Above it is the epithelium. Okay, so here, okay, if you can see this one, okay, you can see this darker part. Okay, this darker part is the mucosa, okay, of the duodenum. Okay, this one, paler part here is the submucosa, and this part is the muscularis propria, the third layer, the muscularis propria, or in this diagram they refer it as muscularis externa. Okay, and you can't see the adventitia or serosa in this picture. Okay, and if you focus only on this mucosa part, okay, you can see, okay, it composed of three more component. Okay, the epithelium, lamina propria, and muscularis mucosa. Okay, but for the slides that I showed just now, we only want to focus only on the epithelium. Okay, but I just show you this one so that you will understand, you can understand what does that mean. Okay, here, okay, so this part, okay, the whole part here is only the mucosa, yeah, only the mucosa of the duodenum. Okay, beneath it is the submucosa, and then you can see the muscularis propria. Okay, so the mucosa, as I mentioned earlier, is arranged into villi. Remember, villi is something like a finger-like structure. Finger-like structure. Please differentiate, yeah, villi with microvilli. Yeah. This one I want to mention about villi. Villi is the one that you can see using your naked eyes. Grossly, you can appreciate villi. Yeah, if let's say you see the small intestine grossly. Okay, so here the villi, if let's say we view it, okay, in longitudinal section, okay, you can appreciate it finger-like structure here. Okay, another finger-like structure here. Okay, and this one is transverse section, okay, cross section, transverse section, the green one, transverse section. So imagine this villi, okay, some you will cut longitudinally so you can appreciate the finger-like structure, something like this, but some of the villi you may cut it transversely, so that's why you can see it's rounded like this. Okay, so in histology you have some, you need some imagination as well. Okay, so now let's focus on this part only. Okay, I want to show you only this part because we only want to view the epithelium. Okay, so this part is the epithelium. Okay, beneath it is the lamina propria, and this is the muscularis mucosa. Okay, so that part, okay, under higher magnification, this is times 40. Okay, so here you can see this is one villi, another villi, one villus here, another villus, so two villi here. Okay, so this villi composed of epithelium. Okay, and beneath it, of course, the lamina propria. Okay, so this epithelium, okay, if you can see this epithelium, what is the characteristic of this epithelium? Can you appreciate the nucleus? Okay, so this one is pointed to the one of the cells of the epithelium. Okay, you can appreciate it has columnar, long, tall shape, very tall shape. We call it as columnar. Okay, and then you can see the nucleus, this one, the nucleus, yeah, the nucleus is actually elongated and located more on the base. Okay, so this would be the apical part, this would be the base part of the cell, the base part of the cells, the apical part of the cells. Okay, and of course you can see it's just a single layer, just single layer, because this part is already the lamina propria, the connective tissue. Okay, so now we are just talking about the epithelium, this part. Okay, the epithelium, the one that line, okay, the one that form the lining of the small intestine. Okay, so here, okay, with tall shaped cells, okay, elongated nucleus, single layer, what is this? So this is simple columnar epithelium, simple columnar epithelium. Yeah, okay, I hope you can appreciate it. Okay, so one villus, another villus, okay, is lined by the epithelium. Okay, now, okay, let's see the one that I pointed with this green arrow. What is this? Any guess? What is this? Okay, if you can see, it's located in between the epithelial cells, the enterocytes. Okay, in between the epithelial cells. Okay, and if you can see this one on its apical part, okay, there is a pale color granules here. Okay, so what is this? Okay, and beneath it, okay, you can see its nuclei. Beneath it is nuclei. Okay, okay, So it has the apical cytoplasm, contain the granules that is pale in color, and the base has the nucleus, and it's scattered, okay, among the epithelial cell. So what is this? So this is the goblet cells. Okay, so this is the goblet cells. Then what is this? If you can see this one, okay, it's formed something like a border here. Huh? It's formed a line, something like a line or a border here. So what is this? This is the microvilli. Okay, so the microvilli, okay, in light microscope, it appears like a brush border or striated border. Okay, it's formed something like a border. Okay, so it's actually, okay, the microvilli. So microvilli, because the structure of the microvilli is very short, okay, in comparison with the length of the cells, so it appears like a border. Okay, I did explain already in the lecture. Okay, so this is the border, the striated border or brush border, represent the microvilli. Okay, try to differentiate. So this is microvilli. Okay, microvilli, you can only see it clearly using electron microscope. Yeah, you can't see the structure clearly using using the light microscope. You can only see it present as striated border. But this structure here, this one is a villus. Okay, this villus actually you can see it using grossly. Yeah. Okay. So another slide. Any guess what is this? Any guess what is this? So this is the trachea. Yeah, the trachea and the lower magnification. Okay. So what is trachea? So this is a trachea. So this is the larynx. This is the bronchus. So this is the trachea is part of the respiratory system. Yeah, part of the respiratory tract. Okay. So the trachea is tube-like structure. Okay, if we cut it and we look from above like this one, okay, and this one, this is the diagram. This is the histological picture. Okay, so this is how trachea look like. Okay, so this part is the mucosa. Okay, so it lined by the epithelium. Okay, and this part is the hyaline cartilage that supports the trachea. Okay, so this darker color here, this would be the epithelium, and this one is the hyaline cartilage. So this is a trachea. So the trachea, as I mentioned, is a tube-like structure. Okay, and this one you can see only half of the tube. Okay, because it's quite big. Okay, so it's lined by the epithelium. Okay, as shown by this black arrow here, and supports by the hyaline cartilage. Okay, so let's focus on this part only. Okay, now this is the trachea. Okay, under higher magnification time 40. Okay, how can you describe this epithelium? Okay, how can you describe this epithelium? Okay, if you can see, it looks like it has multiple layers. Is it true? Okay, looks like it has multiple layers, isn't it? Is it true? Okay, you can see the nucleus. Some is at the basal area, some is at the center area. In fact, some at the apical part of the cells. Okay, so you can see it look like it has multiple layer, but actually all the cells, okay, all the cells attached to the basement membrane. Okay, okay, represent by this shown by this green arrow here. Okay, so this type of epithelium is actually just a single layer. Yeah? Just a single layer. It just look like it has multiple layers, but actually it's just a single layer. Okay, then okay, here you can see, okay, small a projection here. This is actually the cilia. Okay, but of course it's a little bit different from the one that I showed in my lecture. Okay, suppose the cilia has something like a hairy-like structure. Okay, this one, if you can see, is from something like a striated border kan, okay, that represent the microvilli. But actually, okay, the cilia supposed to be hairy like structure, okay. But with this preparation is I think maybe not a good preparation, so you can't really appreciate the hairy like structure of the cilia, okay. So what type of epithelium is this? It's a pseudo stratified columnar ciliated epithelium. Pseudo mean it's not the fake one, it's not the true, not true stratified, it's not true multiple layer, okay. So we call it as pseudo stratified columnar ciliated epithelium, okay. Okay, another slide. Okay, can you guess what is this? Okay, if you can see, it's a tube-like structure. Okay, it has lumen. Okay, so it has lumen, and the lumen is a little bit irregular. It has something like a stellate shape. Okay, and this one is actually part of the gastrointestinal tract. Any guess what is this? Okay, so this is actually the esophagus. Okay, the esophagus. Okay, it's a tube-like structure with stellate lumen. So this one, this part, okay, the one that is darker in color here, okay. So this is the mucosa. Remember gastrointestinal tract, when I talk about the duodenum, they have the similar arrangement, okay, composed of 4 layers, okay. Mucosa, it has submucosa, and then it has this muscularis propria layer, the third layer, and then it has adventitia. So you can appreciate here, okay, mucosa, submucosa, muscularis propria, and also adventitia. But in this practical, we are going to focus only on this part, the mucosa, okay, only the mucosa, okay. So the mucosa, okay, this part, okay. So let's look under higher magnification. So this is how it looks like, okay. So this is the epithelium. Can you guess what type of epithelium this is? Okay, any guess? Okay, if you can see, it has several layers, it has several layers compared with the previous slide, or the previous slide shows only single layer type of epithelium, isn't it? So this one, you can see it has several layers, okay. So this basal cells, okay, if you can see it more clear, is if you can see it clearly, I'm sorry because the picture is not very good, but usually using the microscope you can see it more clear, okay. So this is actually the basal cells, the basal cells. So this basal cells is usually columnar or cuboidal, okay. So this is the intermediate cells, and this is the surface cells, or the outer cells, okay. So the outer cell, if you can see, okay, the one represented by the black arrow is flat, okay. The intermediate one, the middle one, is polygonal. It has different shapes, okay. And this one is usually columnar or cuboidal, the basal one, okay. And the name of stratified epithelium, okay, will be depends on the outer cells, depends on the outer cell. So if let's say you can see this one, it's flat, isn't it? So if let's say it's flat, it's squamous, okay. So this one is stratified, multiple layer, squamous, the outer cells is flat, non-keratinized epithelium, okay, non-keratinized epithelium, because this one doesn't have the keratin, okay. So let's look another slide. Okay, so this is a thick skin. Okay, thick skin, remember the skin in the lecture I already mentioned that the skin composed of epidermis and dermis. Okay, so this part is the epidermis, this part is the dermis. Okay, so let's focus on this part. Okay, so this is how the epithelium, okay, the epidermis, okay, the epithelium of the thick skin, okay, formed by the epidermis, okay. So you can see, okay, it's of course it's multiple layer, okay, it's multiple layer. So this is the basal layer, okay, and this would be the outer layer, this is the intermediate layer, okay. The basal layer here, you can see it more clearly compared with the previous slide, okay. It's usually cuboidal or columnar, okay. And the intermediate layer, usually it has different shapes, okay, polygonal, yeah, you can appreciate it polygonal, and the outer cells is flat, yeah, the outer cells is flat, okay. But okay, the difference between this one and the previous one is this layer, okay. So this is the keratin, okay, the keratin, okay, represented by this blue arrow, keratin, okay. So this one is a stratified squamous keratinized epithelium, yeah, because it has the keratin. The difference between this one and the previous one is only the keratin, okay. So this type of epithelium you can only find it in the skin, okay. But for the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, you can find it in several areas. For example, the esophagus that I showed you just now, yeah. Okay, we finish with the epithelium. Let's move to the glands. Okay, for the glands we have only 3 slides. We start with the parotid gland. Okay, parotid gland. So this is a parotid gland. Okay, so if let's say you see, okay, it composed of mainly acinar-like structure. Okay, acinar-like structure, the secretory portion. Okay, remember the exocrine gland composed of 2 parts. We have the secretory portion and also the excretory duct. Okay, so the main bulk, okay, the main bulk of the parotid gland that you can appreciate in this slide, yeah, is the secretory portion. Okay, and then you can see several of its excretory duct. Okay, example here, 1 2 3. In fact, this one is 2, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so this is the excretory duct. Okay, we want to focus at that part. Okay, so this is how it looks like times 20, okay, and the higher magnification. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, okay, you can see, okay, it's composed mainly of the secretory portion. Okay, all this part is the secretory portion, so this is the excretory duct. Okay, so this is the excretory duct. Okay, the secretory portion here you can see, okay, the shape, okay, is acinar, rounded. It's not tubular, it's rounded, it's acinar, something like grapes. Okay, another one, acinar. Okay, and this is the excretory duct, and usually it's darker in color in comparison with the secretory portion. Okay, and if you can see, this duct, okay, is formed by the cuboidal cells. You can see it's a cuboidal cells, single layer in this case, single layer cuboidal cells. You can see the nucleus is dark and round and located at the center of the cells. So this is an example of the cuboidal epithelium. Yeah. Okay, but for the duct, it depends. Yes, some of the duct, if the larger one, okay, it can be a multiple layer, maybe 2 or 3 layer. Okay, 2 or 3 layers, so you can see 2 or 3 layer of the cuboidal cell, so it depends. Yeah, okay, for this one is a small duct, so just a single layer. Okay, so now let's see the secretory portion. Okay, if let's say you see the cells, okay, within its cytoplasm, you can appreciate a lot of granules, isn't it, that paler in color, a lot of granules. So because this cells is a secretory cells, okay, so it has a lot of these granules. Okay, and these granules, okay, they will be excreted, okay, to the duct, okay, via exocytosis. So which type of cell, which type of gland is this? Okay, so this is the merocrine gland, okay, excreted via exocytosis. Yeah, then we move to another gland, okay, lactating breast. So this tissue is from a lactating breast. Okay, you can see it's mainly composed of distended acini. Distended acini, 1 acini, 2 acini, 3 acini, several acini here, isn't it? Okay, and within the acini you can see this eosinophilic material. It's basically the milk lah, okay? The milk. Okay, so the acini is distended with this eosinophilic material, the milk. Okay, so let's focus this part. Okay, so this one under higher magnification, so you can appreciate 1 acini here, another acinus for two, acinus for single, another acinus here. Okay, and if you can see the epithelium of the acini, the acinus here is flat, yeah, okay, because it's in active phase. Okay, and inside, okay, inside the acini, okay, you can see it's filled with these eosinophilic materials, okay, and it has this clear vacuoles, okay, that compose of the lipid actually, okay, milk composed of milk composed of lipid, okay. So during preparation the milk will be dislodged, okay, so it's left with this vacuole empty space here. Okay, so okay, the lactating breast is an apocrine gland, yeah, but okay, of course it's quite difficult, yeah, to find, okay, the cells that at the time is pinching off. Okay, remember the apocrine glands, okay, the apical surface, okay, the apical plasma membrane, they will be pinch off, okay, together with the secretion, yeah. Okay, so but in this case you can't really see, but you can just see part of the secretion already here. Okay, so this secretion is actually, okay, composed of the apical cytoplasm, yeah. Okay, so this one you can find it in the lactating breast, the apocrine gland. Okay, then okay, again we see the thin skin, okay, the thin skin. Okay, so if you can see the thin skin, it has this pilosebaceous follicle, okay, that compose of the sebaceous gland, this one, okay, and also the erectile pili muscle and the hair follicle. Okay, so this unit we call it as pilosebaceous follicles. Okay, but we want to focus only on the sebaceous gland, this part only, yeah. Okay, so this part, okay, if you can see, okay, so this is the sebaceous gland. Okay, this is the duct, okay, the duct of the sebaceous gland. Okay, so if you can see the cells, okay, towards the duct, okay, towards the duct, okay, the lipid content, okay, this one, okay, if let's say you see the cytoplasm, you can see the granules, something like a dots there, okay, the vacuoles inside there. So that contains the secretion of the sebaceous gland, the sebum. Okay, but towards the duct, okay, you can see it increase in numbers. Okay, and the cells become distended, okay, larger. Okay, compare with these cells, okay, you can see this cell is smaller compared with this one. Okay, so towards the duct it's become distended. Okay, okay, then, okay, it will be disintegrated. These cells will be disintegrated, degenerated, okay, will degenerated to release their secretion, the sebum. Okay, and then, okay, because it's already lost, okay, together with the secretion, the place of these cells will be replaced by the mitotic activity of the basal layer of the gland. Okay, so this type of the gland is the holocrine gland. Okay, so with that I end my briefing, okay, my demonstration on the practical class. Okay, so these are my reference. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.